Hello and welcome back to Focus Atlanta. Thanks so much for continuing to watch. In our last segment, we're going to talk a little bit about HIV Testing Day. I'm here with Jason Panda.
Hi, how are you doing, Keisha?
I'm fantastic. Thanks so much for coming on the show. You know, anytime is a good time to talk about knowing your status, but this is actually a little special for us. We actually have an event coming up.
Yeah, so on June 29th, we're going to be hosting Unity Fest. And what Unity Fest is, it's really the culmination of a vision to bring together all the different communities. So we're going to have straight, we're going to have gay, we're going to have trans, black, white, Latino, everything basically to elevate the awareness around HIV and AIDS, in honorarium of National HIV Testing Day, which comes a couple of days before on June 27th.
Excellent. You know, I think that when we talk about HIV testing, people have, you know, there's still a little stigma. There's still a little, you know, oh, they're not talking to me. This isn't for me. But this could be an opportunity for all of us to come together. Talk to me a little bit about that.
Yeah, I think, you know, there's definitely a lot of stigma around HIV, around getting tested, about knowing your status. And I think a lot of that has to do with the kind of apprehensiveness that a lot of people have around HIV specifically, but also just around the discussion around sex, safe sex, and ways to be protected. I think Atlanta, you know, being one of the hubs at which, you know, there's been, I guess, almost like a semi-explode. It's one of the highest incidence rates all across the country for HIV. And I think what we try to do through my organization specifically, which is Be Holding Group Foundation, Be Condoms, as well as through our partners, of which we're working with on this event, which is, you know, Gilead Sciences. They're one of the makers of Biktarvy and Descovy, which are some of the premium HIV medications, as well as organizations like A Vision for Hope. We had a vision where we could basically all come together and say, how can we increase awareness within all communities? So June 29th, right out there on Old National, you know, we're bringing all of our organizations together. We're bringing out Fulton County Health Department. There'll be testing, there'll be awareness, there'll be educationals, there'll be food, there'll be music. Basically, we're trying to create an environment that normalizes the discussion, makes it open for people to access it. We'll have free testing, kind of like a family event where, you know, we can elevate awareness, educate people, and just make it easy for people to be able to access the resources and the education that they really need in the community.
And the making it accessible is so important, because I think that sometimes, you know, even when people do make the decision, you know what, you know, all of us should be tested. Everybody should know their status. They're like, oh, well, I don't really know where to go. What? Where should I go for this? Do I just talk to my doctor? Do I talk to my primary care? You know, there's always questions once someone does make the decision. So having an event like this, making it easy for people to have access to what they need, is so important in this community. The age range, the span of, you know, who we're trying to protect is so huge. It's you know, everybody from adolescents to our elderly, who we're trying to protect here. It's so big that having an event is a great way to kind of pull everybody together.
Yeah, no, and I completely agree. And I think one of the things also that, you know, my goal or our goal kind of in all kind of forming a kind of collaborative, almost like a Voltron in a way, was to make sure that we let people know, you know, HIV has no face, right? It's not gay, it's not straight, it's not young, it's not old, it's not black, it's not white. You know, it impacts all communities, whether we're directly impacted or whether somebody close to our family, a friend, somebody we may work with is impacted. And I think what our goal with this is to be able to say, you know, HIV has no face. It's important to get educated. It's important to know your status. These resources are available in your community. And if you don't know, we're going to bring them right to you so that if you do have a question, you then know where to go. And I think that's one of the things that you know, is it's an amazing highlight of the event, but it's also something that we felt was needed in this community.
No, it's huge. It's huge. Again, I can't stress enough how big of a hurdle you are removing for some people. You know what I mean? When you take that out of the way, it's like, well, I have no excuse now. I have no excuse to know my status, to get this done. You're right here in my community. It's a gift to the community, is what it is. And so I appreciate you for doing this. I appreciate the time and the effort and putting this on for our entire community, because it's really for all of us. When we talk about all of us knowing our status, this is what we're talking about. This is the type of event we're talking about.
Yeah, and I agree completely. And I think one of the other aspects that I did want to mention is, it's completely free. Right. So, a lot of times, people have to worry, it's Atlanta, right? You got to worry about paying for parking, right? You got to worry about, like, okay, what's it going to cost to get in? No, it's a family event. We're going to have a lot of different resources, a lot of different community organizations, music, food. It's overall good time, and it doesn't come with a financial barrier. And in addition to us being able to offer free HIV testing, there's also going to be free services out there. So, like, if you want to get your blood pressure tested, let's say there's women, they want to know about, female health, access to female resources or whatever. There's just going to be a lot of different organizations on site, in addition to the health department, in addition to hosts and DJs and everything else. And it'll be overall good time.
Oh, well, again, I just wanted to have you on the show, first of all, to tell everybody about the event, and second of all, to say thank you, because it's these type of events that make Atlanta great, that make this a fantastic, community to be in. Unfortunately, statistically, we're not where we want to be in terms of HIV status, but we can get there. If we all kind of pull together and have events like this, we can get there. We can do better. So thanks so much. It was a pleasure to meet you.
No, pleasure to meet you as well, and thank you for giving us the opportunity to be able to let us know what we're doing in the community and to be able to broadcast it to your viewers. I genuinely do appreciate that.
Absolutely, my pleasure. All right, guys, you have all the information that you need. You have the website there. Please take the opportunity to learn more, become a part of this event. Again, it's kind of a great opportunity to recognize HIV Testing Day. Why not be at this event? Why not bring, the people that you love? Why not take the opportunity to make sure that you know your status? Thanks, guys, for tuning in to this week's episode of Focus Atlanta. I hope to see you next Sunday here on WUPA.